Hey everybody, Jacob here. I'm in the shop. I got the fuel recycling machine, which is really just a fancier buzzword name for what it actually is, which is just a very large separation tank with built-in filters. So all I'm doing is I'm separating the water from the gas, and then I'm running it through some filters and get all the sediment out of it. So removing the water, removing the sediment, and then I mix it with fresh high octane fuel and use that as a substitute gas to add in when I'm filling up the tank. Basically just trying to recycle the waste gas that usually gets tossed, or I don't know, whatever happens to it. In today's video, this is part 2. Part 1 was very long. I covered the construction of the tank, the pre-filter tank, the frame, the wheels, everything else. And I left it off trying to make some sight glasses and a water separator. I didn't really make much progress. I was trying to make some out of mason jars with custom designed plastic lids. I got very close, but they didn't seal up like I wanted. And they didn't drain very well because there's no petcock or nothing. So in today's video, I am trying to make some out of glass cylinders. I cut some vodka mud shake bottles into little glass cylinders like this. And right now I'm just hand sanding them by hand to try and get them all cleaned up because they can get a little bit rough, eh? So you need to sand them down a bit to make sure they sit flat like this, nice and smooth, because I'm gonna have these caps. These caps are gonna go top and bottom. They're threaded for 1/4-inch pipe thread, so then I can put a little bung on the top and the bottom and use it as an inline sight glass. The water separator is gonna have 2 of them parallel, just to get more capacity and just for the way the space works out available on the machine. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Once I have that done, and if it doesn't leak, hopefully it doesn't, I should be able to get everything working, and that's what's going to happen in today's video. So let's jump right into it.
So the first thing I'm doing is I'm using some 150 grit sandpaper on a perfectly flat block. I check with a straight edge, and I'm rotating and sanding the ends of these glass cylinders so I can get a good, proper, flat seal all the way around the circumference.
So I got all the glass cylinders cleaned up. I got all the edges cleaned up nice too. Very nice, nice and even. The seals, I got those placed in there. I had to do some deburring. There tends to be a little really frustrating to get burrs in the plastic. I didn't try that hard. In the future, I can always take them apart if they leak. But I'm going to try and do as little work as possible because I've been kind of spending too long doing this when I have other things to do. But anyways, there's our 4 vessels. And then right now I have some 1/4-inch threaded rod. I'm going to turn this into bolts for each of those holes. I just got it double nutted right here, got them tightened up. I'm going to cut it down right here, and then I'll go and file it flush with the nut, see how well that works. If that works good, I'll just keep going down and doing that with, I presume, both of my threaded rods. I have another one over there, and that'll make my bolts. So some of them are a bit crooked. That's okay. That's the basic idea. It should protect the glass from most possible impacts, as well as just providing good mounting points top and bottom. So there you go. That's the basic idea.
I tapped the plastic end caps on these fuel cells for 1/4-inch pipe thread. I have a whole bunch of 1/4-inch pipe thread fittings in this little toolbox that have been sitting in my shop for, I don't know, like 10 years. So this is a great excuse to use all of them up so that I can just kind of get rid of some inventory, you know.
So anyways, I got the idea for these two cylinders and all their fittings and everything. It's going to be a parallel series water separator. I think that's the right terminology for it. It's going to go into one of them and then spill over into the next one, and then that'll spill out and go to the jerry can. So that's pretty excessive, but I figured, you know what, I got two of these. If I'm going to just make one water separator with a piggyback, that works, but that's kind of pointless. So I'm going to make two water separators parallel. If I manage to do it without my brain exploding, I'm doing a lot of thinking on the fly while I do this. So yeah, currently I'm taking these random fittings I found. They're 1/8 pipe thread, and I'm cutting them down with a hacksaw, and then I'm probably going to weld in the hole to make a 90-degree for what I need, because I'm running out of the specialized fittings, which is good and bad. I'm trying to go through and burn through my supply, but I do need ones that I don't have, so I have to make them. That's the bad part.
It looks like it's just the connections. Alright, here's the fun part. So here's one half of the water separator setup. I went and threaded a piece of 1/4-inch tubing. It was 1/4-inch pipe thread. I just threaded the center of it for 1/8 pipe thread, and then I added a petcock, and then that 90-degree angle piece I made there.
Well, I guess I cranked it too hard. Damn it.
After cracking the weld on that fitting, I got into a real pissy mood, so I decided to focus on something else. You can see here I'm taking the drill press chuck and putting my tap in it, and I'm using that to thread everything up. It's really, really easy to do this with the plastic pieces. It's a little bit harder to do with the brass fittings, but it's still possible. I use this to start the tapping, just to make sure everything is like square and straight, and then I finish it up by hand. And it works pretty good. I usually clean everything out, and I have a good amount of lubrication and everything, but it makes life a lot easier when you're doing this kind of stuff with your scrap fittings. Here's the two almost finished water separator units. One feeds into the other, and then that one will feed into the jerry can. It's a lot simpler when you see it in action, but it seems pretty complex. The fit and design of the pieces and the way that everything has to thread a certain amount of turns is really hard to plan around. I tapped this 1/4-inch fitting to fit a 1/8 pipe thread plug. The reason for that is that I can't have fuel flowing through it. I just need this to hold one of the water separator cells next to the other one, and I need it to, again, keep any fuel from flowing through it. So I have that on there. This fitting on the bottom, this is for connecting up to the petcock. It's a bit too close to the main fitting, which goes to the jerry can, so I use this little trick that I figured out a long time ago to sand down a brass fitting to make it skinnier. So there's our petcock right there for draining it. And then we also have that little hose fitting on the bottom. There's the plugged off main fitting for holding the little fuel cell. And then we also have our angle fitting with the hose barb on it, which is actually like a little 1/8 paintball tank fitting, like an air chuck fitting. And yeah, it works pretty good.
So the sump drain, I was going to worry about it until later, but I'm going to worry about it right now because it's not very well designed. It's just a bit too far over the way it played out. I should have just moved the damn tank over a bit more, but either way, it pisses all the way out onto this, and then it pisses out here, and then you got this shit going all over there. So we're gonna try and change that here. Where is it? I think this is 1-inch pipe thread. I don't know if I have any fittings like that. Come here, you fuck. Where'd you go? Oh, just gross crap. Drain this up. I don't know where it is, but we're gonna adapt it to something and adapt it to a petcock, blah, blah, blah. Let's do that. Oh, it's cracking. Snafu.
I had another fitting that would work, but something funny happened. Watch.
That's great. You might be able to saw it off and tap the plastic threads, I'm hoping. Oh, maybe not. Okay, look at that. That is a miracle. Thank you, Lord. Usually that would just snap in half, so that's not too bad. That should be what we need. It is old, it is rusty, it is crappy, but it will work. There you go. That works. Why not? Yeah. Oh. Skinny penis. Skinny penis. Hello. 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 Yeah, no. There. So now we got clearance. This could all been avoided if I moved the tank a little bit that way. But this is the consequence of figuring shit out as I go. This is the cost. There's the improved sump drain. Just open up a bucket. Yeah. I'm always dumb with these. There you go. Just like a radiator. Or the bottom of an air compressor, I suppose. Yep. Hello. So I got to do a little bit of tweaks, but that's that. Fits nice and tight. I wanted to bring it in further to the left and then move it a bit back just to get it nice and tight to the rail so that hopefully this slamming into stuff before this does prevents any breakage here. Theoretical. I'd be careful with the machine anyways, but just trying to think ahead.
My dad's in this part of the video, and I'm just laughing because we sound really similar. I guess that makes sense. It's just funny to hear it on a microphone.
It's funny, there was a girl at the pump, some lady. She said, "Excuse me, I don't mean this to be a stupid question, but is premium and supreme the same thing?"
Yes.
I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Yep, surely is. You're just tricking you.
Yeah.
It's misinformation.
I just want to get the right one. I was like, oh yeah, you just look at the number, the octane.
Supremium is better.
Yeah.
Supremium.
Hello, Jacob.
Hello, Brendan. I got my buddy Brendan doing the camera work, which is a big help.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. How about you? Brendan's awesome. That's one of my best friends. So it's good to have Dr. Brendan here to help me out with this.
Dr. Brennan, indeed.
But I can also show him the process, which, truth be told, I've already shown you like twice now. But
3 times, but it's okay.
3 times. We have a couple takes to
Yeah.
You have to shorten things for the average attention span. But anyways, to start the process, I've gotten pretty used to the process so far, just doing some tests. To start it, you're going to take the cap off like this. Just about right there, there's going to be a vent, and that allows air to come into the system. Usually you open it up and it goes because of the sealed gas in there and everything, builds pressure. In terms of leaving it stored, I like to leave it stored for about, like, I don't know, as long as I can, really. I left this one stored for about 15 hours, and then when I went to go drain the sump, using the sump drain on the bottom, I got quite a bit of water out there. I got about like 1 liter, 1.7 liters of water out of the 100 liters of gas. So it's really not a bad amount of water in the gas, and I got rid of all of it, which is good. That's good. So the basic process I've done is after I let it sit, I made sure there's no leaks. There was a little leak right here, So I used some clamps on this hose. Now there's no leaks. That's like the best leak I could possibly have because it's easy to fix. And then after letting it sit, making sure it could hold pressure, I came the next day and I started filtering. So the basic process in terms of filtering, I open the top cap and then I go over, put the jerry can here. I open the vent cap on it. I don't have to though. Usually you can turn the tube to get the little vent tube on top, like the snorkel or whatever. I put the little line into the jerry can. It's a little bit annoying to feed it. It's a bit too long, but that's whatever. And then I go and open this valve, and the valve is tricky. These are full right now, so I've already filled them. But either way, you open the valve and you adjust it. And you're not supposed to do that with a ball valve, but I use it as a throttle. So as the amount of fuel in the tank lowers from draining it out and filtering it, the amount of pressure in the tank decreases, as far as I can tell. So the flow rate will decrease, like the pressure. So then you have to open the valve more and more corresponding to the amount of fuel that is going through the system. So you basically use the ball valve as a throttle. And once you get that going and you tune it, you're trying to tune it to get the least amount of bubbles without having the slowest flow in the world. Because if you have too much bubbles, like air bubbles from too much flow, it'll agitate the fuel and the water. They'll mix together and then it goes out the end into your tank, and that's against the point of the whole thing. So yeah, basic stuff is just, I open the top cap, I take a little jar or whatever, I drain out my sump before I even touch this, and then I look at the sump, I let it sit for a while. This one has a little bit of water in there. You can see it at the bottom.
Yep.
So that's pretty much all the water. That's the last remaining bit. I went and filled it up some more to see if I got more water out of it. Nope. So basically I drain the sump until I get no more water, close the sump off, and then I go and filter it through here. And this is a sample of it after filtering. Very clean. There's like a few specks in there, but honestly that's from the jar. I went and checked to make sure that's from the jar and not my filter system. So it's very effective. That gas is like new. So right now I'm just gonna drain these out so I can show you the actual process of how these fill up and how the flow works and everything, because it makes it a lot simpler to explain. So right now, it's not draining. Oh, it's not draining because the vent line. Okay, hold on.
Gotta tighten that boy back up.
Well, it's because this is in the jerry can, that's why. So then you pull this out, and then the line is clear, so then you just watch. The fuel is going to come out of the line, or for the most part. Hold it like this. Ooh, the fumes are pretty intense. And then you can just put this over here. There we go. That allows air to get in there. And then you open this.
And it just drains.
Yeah, and then it just drains. You can even bring the camera up and look at it draining here from the side a bit. Right there.
Yeah.
So the lower.
It just kind of slowly goes out right through there.
Yeah.
From that to that.
So, like I mentioned, the ball valve, you have to kind of tune it and use it as a throttle depending on how much pressure is in the tank. When the tank is full, it's like very, very slight throttle opening, because if you open it full right away, you'll get a bunch of like, this will happen, and then your water and your fuel are pretty much mixed together, and then these won't work because you have to have a slow flow through them and an even, not super agitated flow to get good separation and to have them work well. So anyways, long story short, the flow is going to go through here into here because this is blocked, so don't worry about that. That just holds this. The flow is going to go from here into here and then down through this straw. It's going to come out the bottom of this straw, and then it has to make its way back up to the top. That gives it a time delay, and in that time, the water should kind of separate and go to the bottom because water and gas have different densities. So the gas will go up to the top and then come out this tube and then down through this straw to the bottom and then get back up to the top and then go through the middle tube and then come through and then out into the jerry can. That sounds pretty nutty and pretty complex, but I'll show you. It's actually pretty straightforward. I'm going to open it a solid amount just to make it go faster. So there will be some agitation, but usually I don't open it this fast. It makes some cool noises.
Yeah.
And then once this fills up, it'll do some cool bubble effect, which is kind of interesting. But you do have to reduce it, sadly. There's a little bit of debris and like detritus or detritus, however you say that, in the bottom of these, but that was just from me making them. I just didn't really spend the time to fully clean them off. But the debris tends to just stay at the bottom. So that's, you know, that's fine by me. They don't really get out of it. I checked with this. None of it really got out. I thought the stuff in the bottom was from this, but it was actually just from the jar. It just wasn't really washed. So it works fine. Probably speed it up a bit. Oh, it is being slow. I guess the pressure dropped. Well, that's neat. Really taking its time.
Yeah. This time around.
I ain't got all day.
It usually does go really fast though. And this shit fills up like instantly.
Yeah. Usually it's bubbling. I wonder if it's this tube. Maybe I'll move this. See what happens.
Well, there's some bubbles. And it's going faster now.
Oh yeah. So I shouldn't be holding this like this, but then it comes out of here. So as you can see, it goes down through the bottom, comes up to here, comes through here, comes down through here, and then up, and then down and through here. And then that's your basic system. I don't usually operate at this much throttle. It's usually, I usually just look at it. Again, it's nice to have a clear sight glass, see what you're doing, because then you can tune it and you can get it to the point where there's just a little bit of airflow through it. Because see how the bubbles made everything like kind of murky? That's because there's a little bit of a mix of all the stuff in there. There's not much water in this fuel now. I got most of it out, but it's hard to tell the water and gas when it's like misty like this, and the water can get through if it's misty like this. So I'll just let that calm down. But yeah, that's the basic setup. You basically just open cap, put jerry can here, drain sump, and then close sump, and then open this, and then tune this to, you know, the amount of bubbles in here. I could probably open it up a bit more. Right about there. That's about the decent amount of flow right there. And then that's your visual indicator, and then you just let it rip. That is the basic system. Obviously it's working. We got about that much trained. The fuel level works pretty good. I think it might fluctuate a bit if I shut it, and then it'll fill a little bit slowly over time, but it works good. None of these leak. I'm actually really surprised none of these fuel cells leaked. And I mean, maybe there's something else similar to that, but I pretty much invented the fuel cells. I didn't invent the fuel cell, I invented these and came up with it. So I'm happy to have done something that works effectively. I'm very happy with it. But the next step for this is to put it in the car. So I'm driving a 2003 Santa Fe 2.7 liter. It's hard to access the rear spark plugs. So what I'll probably do is put it into the car and then drive around with it, show that it works, and then I'll take the spark plugs out and I will show them to the camera and then have a look if there's any kind of deposits or whatever on the spark plug. I don't think anything's going to show up. At the very worst, I put some octane booster in here. Sometimes that'll turn your spark plugs a little bit sooty orange, but I don't really think so. I don't think anything will happen. If it does, I will honestly show it off, but that's what I'm going to do. Put it in my car, drive around, show it off. There's going to be a check engine light in the car, which is funny. I got to change my O2 sensors, but again, that's not because of this, even when it seems like it would be related. It's not. That's just, it was like that. The O2 sensors must have been failing. So I have to fix that in time. But either way, I'm going to put it into the car, test it out. The car isn't running that lean, so it will work fine. And yeah, I'm going to do that next. You can get me in it too.
So, like, here's this guy right here.
So started the car up. This one has some kind of issues with the evap or something. If the tank is full, it doesn't like to start. It's not because of the gas. So
Where's the check engine light? Where is it?
Oh, it's over there. That's just, I scanned it. That's just for O2 sensors. I gotta fix that. But it still goes between open and closed loop, so it's not running super lean, which is good. But either way, Santa Fe is not the greatest. According to this, I'm getting about 29 miles per gallon. I'm driving at about 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour. I'm pretty easy on it. Sometimes I go rip it around in the snow.
we saw a UFO up in the sky. It was like right up there, you know, like actually a real UFO. Like
He like waved. I was like,
yeah,
how's it going, little bro?
yeah, he went like.
And what he actually meant by that is like, I'm going to abduct you and touch you and put you back.
Yeah, that's what he
I don't
said.
remember any of it. It was on some of Epstein. So we're just gonna go for a little drive, you know, just hanging out in the parking lot. We're just watching for some cops.
It's my friend Dylan.
Letting that person leave over there.
My friend Eric.
See, they're driving away pretty slow, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, do you see that? What is that? Oh no, that's a deer. Oh,
Oh,
no.
shit. Oh,
Yo,
fuck.
a deer. Okay, hold on, I lost control. Oh no. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh shit. Ah!
Wait, hold on. Oh my god, there's another deer. Okay, wait, hold on. There's like a deer. It's coming around the corner. Are there any cops in that lineup?
Fuck no.
Wait a minute. Okay, wait, hold on. It's here. Yo, did you see that? Do you see the deer? Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, there's a fucking deer, bro. Do you see that?
Someone wants to join.
It's a ghost, bro. Yo, someone's
Who's
coming.
gonna come join?
Are they?
There's a truck turning left into no frills.
We're just drifting. You coming to get gas? Coming to get gas?
Gas, bro. We better tell them about the deer. Alright, and then here, watch. Here's what we'll do. Watch, we're gonna hide. Watch.
We're gonna go down.
Okay, here.
The cops won't find us here, bro. It's like the fat guy hiding behind a pole.
No one will ever know.
So, as you can see by dicking around with my buddies, I went probably about 350 or 380 kilometers in the Santa Fe. Quite a bit. You know, my one buddy lives pretty far out of town, so it was a long drive. Right now, I filled up another full setup of gas here. I did have some issues. It was kind of interesting. I know I filled it from cold, so it was very icy tank. I filled it right to the top, and this batch has a lot of water in it. So what ended up happening is first this hose blew off right there and then started just dripping. The good news is that because the cap up top was sealed, it made a vacuum, so then it stopped flowing much, which was very handy. The bad news is that I didn't get it fixed. There. The bad news is that I can get it fixed. I put a clamp here, clamp there. I figured, okay, well, it's probably just thermal expansion because the tank was freezing cold and now it's warming up. And then I came back later and oh man, I didn't even realize. This thing was swollen. It looked like it was going to explode. And I was like, oh my God, no. And I went and looked over and this thing was done sweating and everything. But it was like, you know, sweating actual fuel, whatever the term is. Like it was just seeping out of here. It was seeping out of here. Like there was high pressure in this tank. I couldn't even get that cap open. So very high pressure. So I was kind of freaking out, you know. So then I ended up just opening this. That was pretty crazy. So anyways, bled the pressure off of that. I'm still trying to think, is it the overfilling? Is it the thermal expansion? Is it the amount of water in the fuel? Is it all three? I'm not too sure. But I do know that once I did open it up and I tried to empty it out through this, which is a bad idea. It's a great way to wreck your filter. Crap. When I tried to empty it out through this directly into the jerry can at full tilt, it stopped flowing. So I said, okay, well, what the hell? Why did it stop flowing? My theory is that because this level is at here, because the gas is lighter than the water, if the water's on the bottom, and if the amount of water is at a certain threshold in, what's the word? A certain threshold in, I don't know, opposition to the gas, there's not enough weight of the gas to
push on the water and push it through the filters, if that makes sense. I think because gravity affects the gas less, it's not going to be able to push it, which pushes the water through the filters. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm pretty tired right now. I don't know the best way to explain what I'm trying to explain, but because gas has less density, it's less affected by gravity, I believe. So it's going to go to the top. And if there's less gas than there is water in this system, it won't flow because there won't be enough pressure on the lowest part of the tank. I think that's the best way to explain what I'm trying to say. I could be totally wrong. That's just my theory from doing this. But that seemed to be the case, you know. Now that I have this drained out, this should flow. And if it doesn't, well, then we'll have to do some problem solving. But so yeah, I'm going to filter this up. Tomorrow, I'm going to put these two in the Santa Fe. I'm going to jump in there, fire it up, and show you how it starts. I'm going to prove to you that I went blah, blah, blah kilometers. And then I'm going to go and drive even more kilometers. And if I have any issues, then you'll see it. But I highly doubt I'm going to have any. Well, do a start here. I did have it plugged in. It's about minus 20 Celsius or minus 22. Let's see here. Fuel pump is primed. 338 kilometers. I guess I was a bit off. There you go. How cold are we? I got a nice scan gauge too. I highly recommend these. We are at 3 degrees Celsius water temp. So it's not a super cold start, but it's still a cold start. So here we are in the bagger, the crap box here. We usually get from the range of about 20 to 25 miles a gallon. Sometimes if it's a special day, we'll get about 30 miles a gallon, but in the winter, in the cold, you know, cold intake temps, people say winter gas, and that's true, but I don't actually know how much of a difference there is. You'd be surprised how much your gas mileage varies. Look at it here. This is an estimate, but it's varying every 2 seconds. And that's just the system delay. I imagine it varies every single millisecond. Like, you know, people think it's kind of like a set thing. It's really not. And even if I go like this, here, I'll turn cruise control off. If I use my foot, here's 16 miles a gallon. If I let off a bit, there's 21 miles a gallon, right? So there's that much variance just from, like, I don't know, a quarter inch of movement from your foot, especially the cable throttle. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. We're getting the same mileage as pretty much as when I use the regular fuel. I haven't noticed a big decrease in mileage or increase in mileage. Works okay. I haven't noticed any kind of stalls, misfires, or anything of that nature at all. I haven't noticed any failures to start, anything like that. Even when it's really cold out, I haven't noticed anything wrong. That works all right. Yeah. So far as I can tell, this gas works just fine. As long as you do the filtration process right, it'll run right. This is on a private racetrack, by the way. So, I refilled the tank with the recycled gas. The evap on this car is a bit wonky. So, you have to do this. That's how you have to start it when the tank is full. Just likes to do that. So, you do what you can. So, it warmed up today, as you can see by the intake temps. That's nice. Get a little bit better gas mileage. It's not always consistent, but I find that gas mileage seems to go up a little bit as intake temps increase to a point. Once you're getting around 30 degrees Celsius intake temps, you're having problems. I wouldn't like to go over that. So you can tell I care about gas mileage. Most of my cars get like 38 to 45 miles per gallon, mostly Civics. They all get very good gas mileage. So this thing to me is kind of like an archaic beast. It does not get good gas mileage from my perspective. Not very good. The most I've ever really gotten in it, real world, is probably about like 25. So I just try not to stress about it too much. The good news is my gas is effectively less than half cost now, so that saves me quite a bit of money. And right now I'm just dicking around, having fun with friends, but that's part of life. So if you got to spend some money to do that, that's what you got to do. It works good. Clearly I'm driving. I haven't had issues. The starting issue I had at the pump, that's been there since before, like I said. And the check engine light has been there since before. It sent a couple codes. I used my scan gauge. It's all related to the secondary O2 sensors, I believe. So it should be running a bit lean, but like I said, I looked at it, open loop and closed loop, it's going between both of them, and it doesn't seem to be down on power, and it doesn't have like a funky scent coming out of the exhaust pipe. There's not an excessive amount of smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe. You can't detect anything by smell. I think it's okay, but I'm still gonna have to check that out once things warm up. But either way, like I said, maybe not a guaranteed success, but definitely a success. I think it works very good. I'm pretty much 100% confident in it. I'd say I'm 95% confident that this will work. And I am kind of curious to take some gas from the local gas station, one of them, and put it through the machine alone and see how much water I get out of it. Because part of the inception of me building these gas machines, the guy I was working for, who owns the company or whatever, him and his son, he used to own a local gas station, and he was telling me, you know, if you take that old gas, you better build a machine to separate water from it. And I said, is it really that big of a deal? He said, yeah, when I worked at the gas station, I would get diesel and I'd get gas right off the truck that would have water in it. Some of the diesel could even have fungus in it or whatever that stuff is. You get it the worst with biodiesel. I've seen photos where it's like kind of just this like rotten crap that's in there. He would get it right off the truck and it would already be rotten, and the gas would have water in it. You know, I live out in the north. I live out in the north, obviously, and resources are a bit limited compared to other places in the world, and it's pretty hard to ship stuff back and forth. So things like that can happen. So I kind of wondered, if I took gas from the pump in bulk, if I put it in the machine, how much water would I get out of it? I'm kind of curious, you know, but I guess that's future food for thought. As of right now, I could improve on a couple of things with the machine. I've just been needing to filter out all that gas because I have so much of it stocked up. I could go and make a setup like an anti-overflow for my jerry cans. I could go and make a vent system where I don't have to open the cap all the time. I could also go and reroute my filter setup and change the lines out. There's all kinds of things I could be doing. But as of right now, I'm just driving. With the gas I filtered, I'm going for a frickin' cruise. It works good, man. So I did another big trip, or a big enough trip. It would have been about 460 kilometers total. Good couple hours of driving. Slow down. I'm trying to do some... Oh my God, buddy. Okay, just come here. Either way, drove about 460 kilometers. Didn't have really any issues. It got really cold. It was about minus 27 or minus 37. Right now, this thing doesn't want to idle if you cold start it. I felt bad having to cold start it, but I didn't have it plugged in. There's nowhere to plug in. So I let it warm up. Listen, just take it easy, man. This guy's really needy. So anyways, I brought it home. I pulled the front 3 plugs out, had a look at them. Just fuck off, man. I pulled the front 3 plugs out and had a look at them. Fucking cat. Just hold on. Just hold on. It's not that cold, man. Right now, it's like, I don't know. I don't even have gloves on. It's like +5. So, I pulled the front 3 plugs, and I kind of expected this. They, focus. They're orange. They're all orange. I'm not pulling the back 3 plugs because that whole cylinder head is blocked by the intake manifold. The intake manifold is a 6-into-1 and it curves over the top of the back
of the engine. So it goes over the top of the rear cylinder head. Long story short, it's a bitch. I'm not going to pull it, but it's orange. They're all evenly orange. I'm going to check the gap, but the gap seems the same as it was before. Doesn't really seem to be much destruction. They're all orange. What I've read online is that that is caused by this MMT stuff. MMT stands for that. Methyl cyclopentadenyl manganese. Tricarbonyl, whatever. But either way, apparently it's not supposed to harm anything. It's supposed to be bad for emissions equipment, like your converters and everything. And there is research saying that it's dangerous to your health. I feel like I should probably just stop using it. I wanted to try it again to see if this would happen again, because I used to run the recycled gas in my Civic. It was a 2006 1.8 liter R18A1, single cam, blah, blah, blah. Ran it in my Civic and everything was all right. That was with less effective filtration equipment. But when I started putting the octane booster in there, because I was thinking, well, the fuel's been sitting, it's probably low octane. Suddenly, my plugs turned orange. So I just soaked them in some gas and gave them a light scrubbing with a toothbrush. That cleaned them up and I didn't have any issues. Right now, I'm not really having any issues. I did a cold start, like I was saying, and that was pretty rough. It didn't want to hold idle, so you kind of had to give it a little bit of gas, just enough to keep it idling. And then once it warmed up a bit, it would hold idle properly. But that could just be from the cold. Like, here in Canada, it gets pretty cold, needless to say. So I'm going to clean those off, throw them back in, and then at some point I'm going to put the car in the shop and then do figure out what's up with the O2 sensors and then get it running better, clean these up, take the intake manifold up, do the back ones, and then I'm going to try and return this stuff. It's too bad I bought it so far out of town. So next time I go out there, I'm going to try and just return it because it seems to work. Lucas makes good products, but I don't like the way that it can possibly wreck emission stuff like converters, and I don't like that it fucking turns my plugs orange. Some of you may think, oh, maybe it's turning orange because of rust, because of possible water in the fuel. I understand that, but seriously. Where's the water in the fuel? I get pretty much all the water out of the fuel. So, anyways, that's just me talking to myself. But if there are people who think, oh, the plugs are orange because of... I understand, I think that too, but I also don't think that because where's the water?
So I'm gonna call it at that, at least for these videos on this machine. That's the gasoline recycling machine that I built from scrap. As simple as I could make it, quote unquote, as cheap as I could make it, it works well. In terms of issues that I've had so far, if the temperature of the gas, like right now it's very cold out, if the temperature of the gas fluctuates quite a bit from bringing it out from the cold and keeping it in the warmer shop, you can get a lot of expansion, and the expansion can build up enough pressure that it can wreck things. This glass canister right here, this little fuel cell, there's a hairline crack in it, so then it weeps really slightly under pressure. I'm going to replace that glass unit as soon as I get this all drained. I'm going to try and find out how to make a pressure relief valve or a blow-off valve. I'm thinking of looking into the ones that you find on vented gas caps for dirt bikes and kids' quads and stuff like that. I might take a couple of those and rig something up. The other issue I had the other night was that for some reason the flow rate increased out of nowhere and this thing flooded. It did, like the pan caught most of it, but I never realized that it's actually a huge pain in the ass to pour the contents of this pan into a jar. It's actually just a ton of dicking around. So I will be developing a custom cap for this end of the jerry can that seals everything one-to-one with this. And then I'm either going to have a vent line here or I'm going to connect it to the main cap right here. So then if it is left and if it manages to overflow, it would simply just go up the line until it equalizes at whatever level the gasoline is at in the tank. And then I probably run one of those breathers. And then the cap, I want to keep the cap closed. It's a little bit annoying to have to open and close it all the time. And as much as it sounds neurotic, opening and closing it does shake the machine a bit, and I try to avoid any kind of vibration because that could agitate the fuel and mix it up with water and sediment. So anyways, I might add like a ball joint, or not a ball joint, I might add a ball valve onto here for a vent so that you can just open and close it. Because if this is going to be open, this has to be open, this shakes it a bit too much, a ball valve would just be a simple, which should be a lot easier. So I'm probably going to add a ball valve to here. And then of course, once it warms up outside, I will begrudgingly wire brush everything, put some paint remover on there, and then give it a good paint job. Definitely not black, that would be a bad idea. My buddy was saying maybe white or something like that, but either way, that's all I do really. Just paint it, add a better vent system, add a blow-off valve, and then I don't know, that would be about it. Maybe make a couple of brackets for the fuel cells, but either way, that's that. Thank you for watching. I'm glad to be able to show this off and explain my thought process and why I did this, blah, blah, blah. Those who have watched to the end, thank you for bearing with me. I tend to ramble. None of this is scripted. I just keep going and going. But anyways, thank you for watching.